and robe entered Vacchagotta for alms. Then when he had walked for alms on continuous alms round in Vacchagotta, he ate that alms food leaning against a certain wall. Stop here for a moment. You see, he walked, this is mentioned here, he walked for alms on continuous alms round. Continuous alms round means he goes from house to house. He does not select houses. Oh, there's a rich guy, where go to his house, you get good food. He doesn't think like that. Doesn't matter whether the house is rich or poor. He goes house to house. But later books, like Mahayana books, they say that a monk is only supposed to beg from maximum of 7 homes. This is mentioned in the Theravada books as an external sect, ascetic practice. It is not a Buddhist practice. It is practiced by external sect, ascetics. In the Buddha's Vinaya, a monk can go to any number of houses until he gets enough food for his meal. So Venerable Sariputta was eating his food by the side of a wall. Then the female wanderer, Suchi Mukhi, approached the Venerable Sariputta and said to him, "Ascetic, do you eat facing downwards?" And he said, "I don't eat facing downwards, sister." Then, "Ascetic, do you eat facing upwards?" And he said, "I don't eat facing upwards, sister." Then, "Ascetic, do you eat facing the 4 quarters?" "I don't eat facing the 4 quarters, sister." Then, "Ascetic, do you eat facing the intermediate directions?" "I don't eat facing the intermediate directions, sister." And the female wanderer asked him, when you are asked, "Ascetic, do you eat facing downwards? Do you eat facing upwards, etc.?" you reply, "I don't eat thus, sister." "Then how do you eat, ascetic?" Venerable Sariputta replied, "Sister, those ascetics and Brahmins who earn their living by the debased art of geomancy, that means feng shui, a wrong means of livelihood, these are called ascetics and Brahmins who eat facing downwards. Those ascetics and Brahmins who earn their living by the debased art of astrology, a wrong means of livelihood, those are called ascetics and Brahmins who eat facing upwards. Those ascetics and Brahmins who earn their living by undertaking to go on errands and run messages, a wrong means of livelihood, these are called ascetics and Brahmins who eat facing the 4 quarters. Those ascetics and Brahmins who earn their living by the debased art of palmistry, fortune telling, a wrong means of livelihood, these are called ascetics and Brahmins who eat facing the intermediate directions. Sister, I do not earn my living by such wrong means of livelihood as the debased art of geomancy, or the debased art of astrology, or by undertaking to go on errands and run messages, or by the debased art of palmistry. I seek alms food righteously, and having sought it, I eat my alms food righteously." Then the female wanderer, Suchi Mukhi, went from street to street and from square to square in Vacchagotta, announcing, "The ascetics following the Sakyan son eat righteous food. They eat blameless food. Give alms food to the ascetics following the Sakyan son." It's the end of the sutta. Sakyan son here is Sakyaputta. That means they're referring to the Buddha. So here you can see that in the original Buddha's teachings, all these are wrong means of livelihood. That means practicing geomancy, feng shui, hong shui, or practicing astrology, or running errands for lay people, or fortune telling. All these are wrong means of livelihood. A monk practices right livelihood when he practices the Noble Eightfold Path according to the Buddha's teachings, and not eating food in these wrong ways. But unfortunately nowadays some monks do all this, some of these things. So the female wanderer was so impressed by Venerable Sariputta, he went around asking lay people to give food to the Buddha's disciples. Now we come to chapter 29, Naga Samyutta. This word Naga, during the Buddha's time, had two meanings. One is like here, it refers to the snake spirits, the devas or devis who have the snake body. And there's another meaning of Naga, is that like a great being like a big, huge elephant or a huge snake spirit or a great hero. That's the other meaning of Naga. But here, this chapter is referring to the snake spirits. The snake spirits belong to the lowest heaven, that is under the four great heavenly kings. 29.2. At Savatthi, the Buddha said, monks, there are these four modes of generation, that means four modes of birth of Nagas. What for? Nagas born from eggs, Nagas born from the womb, Nagas born from moisture, and Nagas of spontaneous birth. These are the four modes of birth of Nagas. Therein monks, Nagas born from the womb, from moisture, and born spontaneously are superior to Nagas born from eggs. Nagas born from moisture and born spontaneously are superior to Nagas born from eggs and from the womb. Nagas born spontaneously are superior to Nagas born from eggs, from the womb and from moisture. These, monks, are the four modes of birth of Nagas. Stop here for a moment. So the Buddha says, these Nagas, they are born from four different ways. The lowest is the egg-born. Egg-born is the lowest. That means like those snakes that we see around our earth. Most of them are egg-born. But higher than that is the womb-born. That means instead of giving birth to the egg, the egg-born is also sometimes called doubly born twice, because they are first born into the egg, and after that they come out of the egg. It's the second birth, so they are born twice. But I think in our earth here also we have womb-born, isn't it? There are some snakes, they don't give birth to the egg, but straight away the babies come out. That is a womb-born, supposed to be higher. And then higher than that is Nagas born from moisture that we don't see in our earth. Those may be spiritual beings that we can't see with our eye. And then the highest is spontaneously born. That means they suddenly appear, just like some devas and devis in heaven. They suddenly appear out of nowhere. They spontaneously appear. Now this is interesting because from here you can see probably that the Nagas born of moisture and spontaneously born, they take birth in the heavens. In the heavens. Okay. So that's why you see that there is in the Bible, I remember it's a Gospel according to St. John. Jesus Christ was approached one night by a priest and was asked, why is it true or you say that beings have to be reborn? And Jesus Christ said yes. And he asked 3 times and Jesus Christ said yes. And Jesus Christ said, unless a man be born of water and of spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. So now the interpretation, born of water means baptized, born of spirit means like you take when you go for mass, Holy Communion, you take the wine as the spirit. But if you go according to the Buddha's words, what Jesus meant is that to be born in heaven, only these two types of birth, moisture born and spontaneously born, is born of the spirit. And the next sutta is 29.3 at Savatthi. A certain monk approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side and said to him, Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why some egg-born Nagas here observe the Uposatha and relinquish concern for their bodies? And the Buddha said, Here monks, some egg-born Nagas think thus. In the past, we acted ambivalently in body, speech and mind. Having done so, with the breakup of the body after death, we were reborn in the company of egg-born Nagas. If today we practice good conduct in body, speech and mind, then with the breakup of the body after death, we shall be reborn in a happy destination, in a heavenly world. Come now, let us practice good conduct of body, speech and mind. This, monks, is the reason, the cause why some egg-born Nagas here observe the Uposatha and relinquish concern for their bodies. So it looks from here that there are some heavenly Nagas, they are also egg-born. So since they possess a snake body, because they are psychic, they can see other beings higher than them with a beautiful heavenly bodies like human beings, whereas they have to be like a snake, so they are ashamed of their bodies. And they realize, here it says, in the past we acted ambivalently. That means we did good deeds as well as evil deeds, because of having done both good and evil. Because of the good karma, they are born in that heavenly birth. But because of their good karma was not so strong, so they became a very low heavenly being with a snake body. So because of that, they decided that they will keep the 8 precepts on the Uposatha days, and then hope to have a better rebirth. And then the following suttas, number 4 to number 6, is the same as this one, except that instead of egg-born Naga, you also have the womb-born, moisture-born, and born spontaneously type. 29.11, 11 to 20. The monk asked the Buddha, Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why someone here with the breakup of the body after death is reborn in the company of egg-born Nagas? And the Buddha says, Here monk, someone acts ambivalently in body, speech and mind. He has heard, egg-born Nagas are long-lived, beautiful and abound in happiness. He thinks, oh, with the breakup of the body after death, may I be reborn in the company of egg-born Nagas. So he gives food, he gives drink, he gives clothing, he gives vehicles, he gives garlands, he gives fragrance, he gives unguents, he gives bed, he gives dwelling, he gives lamps. Then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of egg-born Nagas. This, monk, is the cause and reason why someone here with the breakup of the body after death is reborn in the company of egg-born Nagas. So the Buddha says that the people are born as Nagas, firstly because they have good and bad karma, and good karma is more than bad karma, so that they have this heavenly rebirth, this low heavenly rebirth.